also when you're full, that's going to be tighter.
Yeah, I know, because they looked better last week.
Yeah.
It's like,
Your
I'm
skin's
like
gonna
getting frustrated because I can't see them here.
Yeah, but that's just because your skin's loose and there's nothing pushing out against it. We give you food for 2 days, it'll be there. It'll be crazy. So that's what I'm thinking about is we can't just keep pushing you down, pushing you down, pushing you down. I'm gonna have to feed you eventually here before the last week, but I think we just need to do it maybe.
So peak week starts Friday.
Yeah. So we probably need to feed you up a little bit Tuesday or Wednesday or both. Or probably Wednesday, Thursday, honestly. We'll probably do Wednesday, Thursday, we'll feed you up and then pull you back down Friday through Wednesday. Or Tuesday, I mean.
So Tuesday is the last low day, or Tuesday?
Well, you don't need to think about anything at all. Let me think about that. I'm just getting my thoughts out loud.
Just let me know before I get on the plane, so I know what to pack.
Oh well, yeah.
That's all I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
So
that's why we talk every day at this point.
I know. Let me look at this real quick.
Yeah.
Because I do want to know which days I'm taking off. So, this is today. This is tomorrow. Because I've done 3 days in a row.
Mm-hmm.
So then, I don't know what you want for like peak week. So that's why I haven't filled in this. So
Yeah.
that will determine like when I take my last rest day. But also, if you're going to feed me Wednesday, Thursday, then I guess Friday or Saturday. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah, just let me think for a minute here.
One of the things that I've had to be very mindful of in my training since January is really pinning my shoulders back so that I get contraction in the lats, especially in this pull down move. So you'll see when I set up, I gotta pull back and set them. And I think that's something that I was lacking before when I first started training, was really setting up properly so that using my lats so they would actually go. Alright, so since we're probably only going to do 2 top sets here, I'm going to go ahead and grab the 60s and see what I can get. Hoping for a 10. So the Klein is one of my favorite machines in this entire gym. When I started working out here, I would look forward to back days just so I could do this seated row. Just something that makes me feel really powerful about this machine. One of the things that you want to be cognizant of is where your elbow path is going and if you're allowing a good stretch. Do a little too thick. Again, I'm making sure that I pin back so that I get the muscle work that I want. I'm definitely the girl that poses in the mirror in between sets, and I have no shame. When I used to have a really hard time feeling a connection with my lats, so especially on back days, I just, open up as much as I possibly can, and it's made a gigantic difference. If you're just starting out and you're having a problem making that connection with your lats, do it in between every set. Make yourself do it. Nobody cares what you look like, and if they do, then go fuck themselves. So when I first started with Matt would bring me through a few training sessions to make sure that he was confident that I was doing, having good form, doing the right exercises the right way. I've been doing the same training plan since I started with him in January. For all of you who think that you have to change your training, if you see my before and after pictures, you will see that you indeed do not have to do that. But anyway, so we went through them in January to make sure that I could do them right, and I had good form. And one of the things that he told me was that I was working out too fast, and I needed to take longer rest sets in between, and that has made a gigantic difference in my performance. Um, yeah, I'm here a little bit longer, but ultimately, I think that I feel like I can attribute a lot of growth to taking the longer rest periods. I mean, even if it's between 7 or 8 minutes between a top set and maybe 2 or 3 minutes between working sets, or, between your warm-ups and working sets, it makes a huge difference in your performance. So take your time. Take your time in between and take your time during the exercise. Um, we need the time under tension. We need to make sure that you're making that connection with the muscle. Um, Rushing through is not a race. Your workout, your time, you need to use it optimally, and that's really what you need to do. So I like to go between the traditional cable pull and this white machine over here. Uh, since not many gyms have this white machine, maybe we'll use that one.
All right.
I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe I just
I haven't
don't
seen
get
it.
out a lot.
This is like the only gym I've ever seen that.
I'm pretty sure that this is one of those machines that, like, even if you don't load the same thing on both sides, distributes it evenly because it's like a pendulum. So keep that in mind. So I'm going to start with this because I actually haven't used this in a few weeks, so I don't really know where I'm at with it. So here you're going to make sure that you're going to lean back and that you're targeting the upper back. Again, I'm going to pull, feet, pull, and set so that I actually get the movement right. This one is always a little tricky. Feel like you kind of just gotta move around a little bit with it, even when you're in the middle of your set, to see what feels best for your body. You know, how far you're leaning back and where you're pulling your elbows. Um, just so you hit the right spot. So we always end back day with shoulders unless I'm doing shoulders the next day. But tomorrow happens to be a rest day, so we're gonna go get a quick little shoulder pump and then we'll be done. How do you do a most muscular like this? How do you do it? Like this?
Yeah, that looks good.
I want to do it on stage. I don't even know how you're supposed to do it. I guess you probably.
You look good.
Speaking of which, I still gotta finish learning my knife routine.
Uh-oh. You got a couple weeks.
Yeah, I work well under pressure.
Yeah.
We're about halfway there. Gotta get to
Yeah.
the second half. Okay, so Matt and I, we started out as friends. I had a coach at the time, but there was a particular moment when I, in retrospect, knew that he was going to be the right fit for me, and that was at nationals, and we were both competing, and I had already gone through prejudging, and I was not sure if I had placed second or third, and I was really, 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 really anxious, and I just wanted.
That's when we ran into each other?
That's when we ran into
yeah.
each other in the marketplace at the Hyatt, and my entire body just went, and I was like, it's Matt. I saw Matt, I saw his face, and Matt had been the person that I went to, like, whenever I had a question about anything, whenever I had doubts, and he never gave me a nonsense bullshit answer. And we had been friends for a year, so I just trusted him, and I to see him and to just the physiological reaction that I had, I knew that after that season that it was like the natural choice, and I cannot be any happier with that choice because I really feel like Matt has ridiculously changed my physique. He's taught me light years about training and taking care of my body, making connections with muscles that I could never make connections with before, and just this prep has been ridiculously smooth. I don't know.
I think I also just want to say that, I was always very careful with, I knew I had an idea of what you were doing with your old coach, and he did a very good job. Like he did almost everything perfect, to be honest, and everything he told me. I never asked you questions because as a coach, I never want someone all up in my shit with my
Yeah,
athlete because
yeah. No, you're not.
they don't know the whole picture behind what's going on. So I just had bits and pieces of what you were doing, and you looked incredible. So all I would really tell you was, is you're in shape. I remember that one day I just noticed when you're on the elliptical from the back, I would gradually just,
Oh
I would see you like every week, maybe every couple weeks, and every time I'd see you, I'd notice something new, and I would just be like, you're on the right track. And that's as far as it went. I didn't know any more than that, right? So I want to be very clear on that. And then you just went through with the show, and then after the show is when we really kindly sat down and, I kind of got into what you were doing, X's and O's wise.
Right.
And then that's when I identified some things. I think we were talking about kind of your plan after nationals and your rebound from there and kind of how to approach that. And then that's when I was finally like, okay, I don't like doing this, but I'm just going to tell you this because I'm here and you're my friend, but I think there's some things that we can do better that maybe your previous coach just hasn't run into yet, because I just have more time and more things that I've seen to where I knew that we could, be a little bit more aggressive with your food and back off more on the cardio and allow your body weight to come up higher. All the things that I know that you needed to do. I mean, where you're at right now is exactly what I envisioned in my head. I'm just able to think, 50 steps ahead, and that's only because I've been doing this for 14 years.
Yeah.
That's the only difference. So, I think you were just able to recognize those things, and I think it's important for a coach to be able to explain to you why we're doing what we're doing, so you can buy into it. And then, luckily, Liv is a robot, and she, she measures things to the gram. She does things at the same exact time. It's Groundhog Day every single day. And when people are executing that way, it makes my job much, much, much easier. And everything has just been smooth sailing since then. I think we're sitting in a perfect spot right now. So
I think we are too, and I think that like one of the big differences, personally, like you would have no way of knowing this even, but one of the big differences that I think helped with this prep was that, and I like never told you this, but my fats were higher for a lot longer. So like I didn't feel like shit so much all the time. And I'm still going to be, conditioned the way that I need to be conditioned, but without feeling like I was going to die. So
you feel like that now, but
I feel like that
it's not
now,
normal.
yeah.
For the length of time that you felt like that, you also had a very long season, so it was that could have played a factor into it last year too. But
Absolutely.
I think it just kind of going through prep a different way. I think I just had to kind of get you. Well, one, you were so attached to the scale, so we have that talk weekly.
Yeah.
You can't be that attached to the scale. But yeah, there were just things that we had to reprogram your brain to kind of, associate or disassociate, I guess, progress with certain things that you were used to feeling and knowing and kind of make you uncomfortable. And I think now you finally understand kind of the way I go about things.
Yeah.
It's just different, but.
And I think like for me, that when I look back on my last prep versus this prep, like I just view the whole thing a lot differently. Not that I'm any less anal, but I just have a lot more like sense of ease about everything. Whereas with my last prep, I was very, very anxious. It was like my first national show. I had no idea what I was supposed to look like. Only decided to do women's physique like in October. So like there was so much anxiety around my entire last prep. And this one, I just feel like, oh yeah, I'm in prep. Okay, cool. Like, you know, it's just like part of my life now, and I think that looking back, I was not. I think it's a difference between being ready to be at the next level and not. And as much as I would have loved to have made it, in December, I just wasn't ready. Wasn't in the mind space. I wasn't.
Yeah, but
I hadn't
let's
earned
say you would have got your pro card. Your physique still wasn't at a point where you could
It wasn't.
get it as a pro.
It
anyway.
wasn't.
So what difference does it make?
Exactly. So like, my physique was not ready, and my mind wasn't ready, and definitely have a whole new
You're still
respect.
very,
for the
you're just still
process.
very, very green to this. You just, a lot of the language you don't even know yet. I remember I said you're harder, and you said, "What's that mean?"
True.
That was 2 weeks ago. So
Yeah.
there's just terminology, language, and just you're still very, very green to this. And there's as we go on, these are just things that you're going to learn that you can only learn over time.
Yeah.
So everything's been flawless. I mean, what we've been able to accomplish in 6 months has been extraordinary. So basically, when I got you, I told you I wanted what I wanted to see. I think that coaches go about it the wrong way. A lot of times, I don't think they're really actually assessing a physique. They're just like, I want you to eat this, and that's about it. Whereas I try to approach things, I'm covering every angle. Like, I'm looking at your physique. What are your flaws? How can we improve that? How can we improve every pose, right? So for you, we needed size everywhere. I want your front relaxed. I wanted to have more of a taper. I wanted more of a quad sweep. Your delts cap, your lats bigger. I made you your training program for your back. That's a little bit unconventional. We can talk about how we brought that up.
Really?
So just how you train. I just have her train back every 3 to 4 days whenever it's ready, and she revolves her other days around that, and that's how we ran it this whole time. We taught you how to just do movements correctly, which was another big thing.
We were talking about that before.
And with your old coach, he wasn't here, so he couldn't go over a lot of that stuff with you, and it's hard to do over video, and it was kind of like, I'm here, so if I can just show you how to do every single movement correctly, and we waste no movements, then over time, that shit adds up. And I mean, you can see it in your body. It just doing movements how you're supposed to do them was probably the single most important thing in improving those body parts we needed to improve, that we are now seeing in every pose that you hit is better.
Yes, I said that. Didn't we say that?
Yep.
I said that when I was training, how in January you went through everything with me and you made sure. And we've been doing the same training since January.
Yeah, haven't changed it once.
And haven't changed it once. I memorized every single one of my days. And I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
So overall, everything's been effective. I can never promise that anyone is gonna win at a show, because it ultimately always depends on who's gonna show up, right? But I do know that we're bringing a much better package this time, and if someone beats you, they're gonna have to be really good.
Well, thank you. I mean, Matt and I, we have really big plans, and the way, and I haven't told you this yet. I keep thinking I want to tell you, but okay. So in karate, when people go to break boards, right? Like, you don't look at the board being USA's. You look beyond the board, right? You break beyond the board. So we've got big plans beyond the board. We've just gotta break the board first, and then.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I know where you were going. I know where you're going with that. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
So we're good with that.
Yeah, so we're planning on showing up and winning. I mean, I'm not gonna say we're not planning on winning. We're planning on winning. So.
Yes, we're planning on breaking through the board.
Yeah.